Hello and welcome to Getting Naked with Happiness with me, Stephen Liu. So far, we have heard some incredible stories of resilience and learned secrets for success and happiness. But now, let's see what the experts have to say about human flourishing in relationships. My guest today is Winifred Ling, a psychologist, an experienced couples therapist, and resilience champion. In an earlier episode, Winnie shared her personal story of surviving stroke and brain surgeries. And now she's back today to share her insights and offer tips into relationship success. Marriages, relationships, and couples. What are the warning flags that your relationship is in trouble? And what can we do to remedy issues with our partner? Winnie begins by sharing about the common challenges that couples face nowadays.
One of the challenges that I see for couple is the timing in which they seek intervention. So a lot of time, majority of the couple that sees me at the moment, they only come when the relationship is in quite a bad stage. It's like one step before they want to go to the lawyer, and I feel that the effectiveness that I have in dealing with this couple is greatly reduced because there has been many years of resentment, so the heart has been hardened. So it's very difficult to work with couple in this stage. Some we can still do some work, but majority may not be able to open themselves because the resentment has built over the years. And so I've been feeling really disappointed as well sometimes because I feel like they come and seek help and I can't really offer much because not because I'm not effective, but it's because of the timing. So the key problem is the timing. They come too late, you know. And so I've also been thinking about what is the problem? Why is it that they come too late? And I realized that it's because of the stigma that's involved in seeking help. So generally here, right now, people tend to associate couples therapy with difficult relationship that you must have gone through infidelity, there must be a third person, there's affair and things like that. And then only then your problem is serious enough to see somebody. And this is a mistaken belief because you can't do a lot of work in that stage. And so what I've been trying to work really hard at is to shift mindset, to change the mindset that please do not wait till your relationship is in a bad place. And Stefan, we talked about like sending
Yep.
your car for mechanic before, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna use the same analogy again.
Yes, please.
You do not send your car for servicing when the car has stopped working. Breakdown in the middle of CTE, and then after that you go and find somebody. You actually constantly service your car. So using the analogy, relationship is so much more important than that. And it's something that we need to invest in. And we need to really be mindful about it and say, from time to time, maybe on a yearly basis, you do a check-in and say, where am I in my relationship with my partner? Am I happy with this relationship?
It's very difficult for many people to have this sort of awareness. Having a mindset that, okay, maybe number one, the main challenge would be seeing a therapist, seeking help. Because seeking help, seeking a therapist is also, in a way, a realization or a checkpoint that they have to admit that the relationship is going south, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
many people cannot grapple with that realization because they may blame themselves that, why have it hit this certain stage? Or they do not want to confront the reality that the relationship is already in that state.
Mm.
Yeah. And and you're saying that you're trying to change mindset. So what is, maybe coming back to what you just said, it's too late, right? When is not too late? Is there a, I mean, of course, everyone is different, but is there a certain sign to know that what is the best time to go to see a couple therapist?
Okay. So we're talking about warning signs, right?
Yes.
We can talk about warning signs. So what are the warning signs when your relationship is not thriving? You're just getting by. So a few key things. One is you're living a parallel life. You're coexisting. You have family, you're married, you have children, you co-parent, and then you have your career, you're doing things, but there is no emotional connection. So when you don't have emotional connection in the couple relationship, that is number one warning sign already. It's like you don't know what's going on in your spouse. You have your own activity, or your activity revolves around your children or your work, and then you have no time to talk to each other, and then you don't really know what the other person is thinking, or your conversation is only around functional stuff, like we plan for weekend, we plan for birthday gatherings, friends, social events, but you actually don't really know what's going on in the other person's. You don't really know what are the challenges in the other person's life and stuff like that.
Wait, I need
So
to interject for a while. So what you're saying is that the warning signs of a relationship is going south, or this is one of the signs that we ought to recognize to start pursuing the option to see a couple therapist, is when there is a lack of emotional connection.
mhm,
Because given what you just said, because I have known people, that
mm,
they have the connection, but it's not really emotionally connection. They are functional. They still make an effort to hang out on the weekends, because from Monday to Friday they're just working really hard, taking care of their work, or
mm.
taking care of their children and things that they need to do, but they just spend time on weekend.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. So that is defined by the individual couple, because every couple is different. I mean, if you're a couple who are traveling, then whenever you're connecting, you're together, it's actually a wonderful time. I'm talking about more like, you feel lonely in the relationship.
Mm.
When one partner in the relationship is feeling lonely, and only when you have that loneliness, then you start to find distraction. You go and find other people to talk, you go and turn to alcohol, you go and turn to like partying, you go and turn to work and things like that. So the warning, it is like this disconnection with your partner. You will know it if you just ask in your heart of heart, am I satisfied with my relationship? We all have that gauge inside, right? Okay, more or less, we're talking a little bit. We are a bit busy, so we're not really talking, but I believe that when we have time, we can connect. So that's actually no problem at all. But if you talk to another couple and they say, I don't really care, I have my own life, I only care about my child, we do family things together, and then, my life is about my activities and stuff like that, then there is problem in the relationship. Because in a marital relationship, you get married to find support from each other. Otherwise, why do you get married, right? You want to share your joy, you want to share your burden, you share a dream. Are you still sharing the dream? Do you know what's your partner's dream? If you don't really know what's your partner's dream, then it is you need to ask yourself, why am I in this relationship? What am I doing in this relationship? You see, am I making sense?
Yeah, making a lot of sense. Talking about being lonely, sometimes. So you're also suggesting that if a person in a relationship, when they start to feel loneliness or start to
Mm.
feel isolation,
Yep.
what are some of the first things that they ought to do when they've discovered that they have been sucked into that state without
Yeah.
them knowing? Yeah.
Understand. I get your
Mm.
point. So then the first thing is the courage to actually accept that, okay, something is wrong with my relationship. We are not where we used to be. We used to be able to connect, and then now I don't dare to raise a point for whatever reason. For maybe like I don't want to trouble my spouse because my spouse works so hard, or I only see my spouse every weekend because he travels on like weekday. And so, but then you feel when you're together, you're not happy, and actually, most couple will understand that. It is something that you feel. You just have to admit and say, okay, something is not quite right. You know, I'm not deriving the same kind of joy. I'm not deriving the same kind of meaning from this relationship.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think that then the skill is really to have that courage to have an open communication. Then do you have the right communication skill? So oftentimes, for those who may not have that right communication skill, they may say, hey, why are you so busy? You don't care about me, right? All you care about is your phone and your work. You don't care about me. So this kind of conversation, this kind of communication style will put the other person off, because the other person feel blame. If we learn to communicate more positively, then it will sound something like this. Stefan, it's been a long time I talked to you, and I really miss spending and talking to you. So
Yes.
can we schedule a time where we can talk?
Okay.
I would really like to go for a meal with you, and because it's been a while. So then you express it in a positive. And then I tell you, Stefan or other people, they'll immediately schedule something and talk to you.
Yeah,
So it's
but
your communication style, you see.
yeah, but when you say the word, can we schedule a call or appointment? It sounds like a work appointment suddenly between a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you schedule an
Okay.
appointment with your client because it's important, right?
Yep.
So why can't you schedule a
Mm.
call with your wife or your husband?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the word schedule, like
Yeah.
suddenly it sounds very formal, but yeah, it's very effective because the person will like, okay, this is going somewhere. I gotta talk to me. I gotta have a
No,
serious
I
call.
think the intention is clearer. The intention is I want to connect with you. And
Mm.
in a relationship, that's the key thing. Is the connection and it's the relationship, right? I want to be able to connect with you. I want to be able to talk to you. And therefore I feel close to you. And you are the most important person in that sense. If I don't feel that way anymore, then your relationship you need to look at it and review and find out where is the problem.
Oh, there's so
Yeah.
many thoughts coming out from this conversation. Okay, they're like just
Yeah.
passing on in this train of thoughts. They're moving at a very fast
Just
speed.
choose one that you want to that really hit you. Come and ask me. Come.
because this is one of the topics that's very close to my heart. We want people to be happy, and of course, a big component of happiness comes with relationships and fulfilling relationships, and a big part of it comes into communication. But I also see that based on my observations, right? I've seen many people, they avoid such a communication pattern or it's such a topic because they do not know how to start this conversation. Firstly, of course, it's not just a few disappointers, but firstly, it would be maybe they feel that they're not
Excuse me.
going to have a serious conversation. And some people cannot have such a serious conversation, right? Number one. Or number two is that when you tell, if somebody say, know what, somebody says to you that, oh, you know what, I think you're spending a lot of time with your phone and you're spending a lot of time on the TV or on Facebook or internet, right? So of course, clearly is like you're calling out a behavior. But the person is not saying that, hey, you should spend more time with me, because the person maybe didn't want to say that. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is the problem. To really have an intimate relationship, you have to learn to be vulnerable. One person must do the initiation, you see. So it is much harder to say, hey, I miss you, I want to spend time with you, or can you make time for me? You're actually putting yourself in a very vulnerable state. And I don't think we have been taught how to communicate that way. But what we've learned is we just say things like we complain about, oh, you're not spending time with me, you don't care about me, you don't love me anymore, you used to be so careful, so caring, but now you're not. So we use complain to communicate, right? But then very importantly, behind every complaint, there is a need. So do you know what's your need? And if you can identify that need and express it clearly, it makes life a lot easier. My guess is many people do not know and cannot identify their needs, or they are scared to identify their needs. Because there's also a stigma, because as a nation, we are raised to be self-sufficient, we are raised to be independent. I can fix my own problem. I don't want to look weak when I say, hey, can you meet my need of connection? Can you spend some time with me because I need some affection or I need some romance? Can you give it to me? Actually, you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable place, because the other person can say, I don't want, no, and then you'll be rejected, right? So it takes a lot of vulnerability and courage to actually initiate and to ask for what you truly want.
Well, this speaks volumes about the quality of the relationship, I think, also. Because if, let's say, two of them, they are together functionally, and it's not in their culture of the relationships to use such a language from day one.
Yeah.
And I think maybe couples will find it difficult. But I like your point is about one person needs to be vulnerable. And I may be wrong, but I tend to observe that most likely it would be the female. If let's say that we're talking about male and female here, And because they care more about nurturing of relationships, they dare to express more of their feelings than their male counterparts. Any tips for the men?
I think firstly, the man has to realize what are their needs also. And different men have different needs. Like some don't really need companionship. Some men love to have companions, so they cannot like without company and all that. So it's a little bit difficult to give advice in a very, very broad sense. But I want to share with you about this couple that I saw. It's actually the guy who was wanting that companionship. It was the wife who spent a lot of time working. And the wife thought that she was building a future for the family. And so she worked really, really, really hard. And then the husband was like waiting by the corner, waiting for her to be free to meet up and all that. And after waiting for 5 years, he decided that he doesn't want to wait anymore. And so he gave up on the relationship. And there were no others issue, no other like there's no other woman and like that kind of distraction. But then he simply gave up because he's tired of waiting. And I was really sad to listen to that story because I feel like they weren't communicating clearly. They weren't clear about the goal. In the wife's mind is I'm working hard to build a future for us, right? At the cost of not spending time with the husband. The husband wants to spend time with the wife and feels that the wife didn't care about the relationship, and thereby she spends so much time working. So then here is clearly a mismatch of expectation and poor communication, because if you know and you check in regularly on, hey, what's going on, what's our priority here, is our priority spending time together, or is our priority building a nest for the future, right? So coming back to your question about what advice do I have for men, is to really
Maybe not just men.
tuned in to your own emotion, and don't just hide behind like, oh, okay lah, my wife not free, then don't need to talk. Or don't make assumption like, oh, she doesn't care, or I'm independent enough, I don't want to be the one that is vulnerable, I don't want to appear weak. Like, I think this thing about appearing weak is quite important. So I don't want to appear weak and needy, because men is not supposed to be needy. Only women are needy. There's this misconception. So I think maybe they need to learn to be a bit more needy, because after all, you are in a relationship, right? You need each other. Otherwise, you don't have to be in a relationship. You can be on your own person. You can do whatever you want, isn't it? So I think my suggestion would be tuned in to what you need and be courageous enough to express that needs.
I think many people, they may have different sort of communication patterns, right? So, like, I wouldn't say that stereotype men. It's not just for sake of discussion, not because
Sure.
we want to stereotype men, but there are many cases whereby men do feel that they have been implicated in the relationship and they want to communicate with their partner, but they do not have the emotional vocabulary to say what they want or they desire or they need. So
Exactly.
what they
Yes.
do, they communicate through actions. So they may think that, okay, I should buy my wife chocolates, or maybe like roses or flowers, or using using actions to communicate their needs, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes.
on this part here, what can they do differently? Just for
Firstly,
men, yeah.
for men,
Yeah.
you need to know what's your wife's or what's your partner's love language. So if your partner's love language is gift, then good for you. You buy gifts, then your partner will feel very happy. But if your partner's love language is not gift, then they'll be like, I don't care about your gift. I don't feel love still. So now let me I don't know how, maybe some of the listeners have heard about 5 languages of love. Have you heard of that, Stefan?
Yes.
5 language. Do you want to share what are the 5 languages?
Okay. Now I'm being tested. I feel so. Okay. Okay, let's talk about me, more relatable. My 5 love language, my first one would be time. Quality time. Yeah.
Okay,
So
spending time together.
I love to spend time with people. I think go in-depth conversations. Second would be words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like using words to express my feelings, the thoughts about the world, and using them to engage people. Yeah, telling them, sharing thoughts about what they have done well. And the third would be acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like doing things for people
Mm-hmm.
and also liking people to do things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And fourth would be, let me see, gift. No, sorry. Fourth would be, sorry,
Physical touch.
physical touch, and then followed by gift.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So these are the five languages. Very good.
What about
You
you?
pa- Okay, for me,
You need, let,
you want to hear mine?
let people know. Yes.
Okay. I think mine. I used to think is word of affirmation. Actually, I'm a word person.
Okay.
I love words, and I feel very loved by words actually. So
Mm.
word of affirmation, and then quality time, and then service, and oh no, sorry, it should be word of affirmation, quality time, touch, and then service, and then gift. So gift is also my last.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I like to I like to receive.
Mm.
I like to receive. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
I need to know what's my husband's, right? Because if I give, I like to, so that's how I like to give also. What you like to receive and give is actually more or less the same. But my husband doesn't care about words of affirmation. Words doesn't mean anything to him. So
Mm.
in the my own earlier relationship, right, I used to write cards, long letters and stuff like that. And to show my love and affection. But he would just read and then just chuck it somewhere, and then I realized, okay, maybe. And then he doesn't really reciprocate. I have to actually tell him that every year you must at least send me one card where you write some notes for me.
Oh, I
So
like
I
that.
enforce it, I enforce it. And I say it means a lot to me that you write something for me. So can you, like, at least on my birthday write me a card
Mm.
at the very least once a year?
So is he doing that?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, great.
But I still have to remind him 2 weeks before that. My birthday is coming up. Don't forget my card. So we have pretty open communication.
Okay.
So his love language, what he will feel love when I do things for him. So his act of service.
Mm.
Then he will do things for me. So he does things for me all the time, most of the time. But I'm like, yeah, I can rationally see it, but I don't feel it because that's not my love language.
Okay, so his love language is acts of
Act of
service,
service, yeah.
right? And you do things for him also, right? But
Because
you,
that's his, so I will do it lah. Yeah.
yeah, but you
So I
saying that,
stopped writing him like notes because he doesn't appreciate it. Right?
okay, curiosity time. Quick question in terms of love language. Let's say yours is words of affirmation, right?
Yeah.
But does it also means that because when you write, you feel good too because it's already your love language, even though
Yes.
you don't receive it,
Yes. Yes.
right? So you
Yes.
can continue
Yes.
to write for him if
Don't
you
want
want to.
If I want to lah, can lah. I might also write to friends who appreciate it, then.
So it comes back.
Okay, I
Okay.
do when I have to. So then I realize he also doesn't have patience to read long
Mm.
letters. So just make it very brief lah. So
Mm.
so I have to adjust and modify.
Okay.
Then you have to know. Then we come back to this.
Yeah.
Then you have to know your partner very, very well.
Yeah.
Because that love languages and all that would change as well. When Olivia, my daughter, was much younger, then act of service mean much more
Mm.
because I was exhausted, and so
Mm.
him being able to talk to me and help me and like do things for me was important. Or him
Mm.
letting me sleep when we don't have enough sleep means a lot to me. Then act of service during that period of time would make me feel more loved. So that changes. So it doesn't mean that your love language doesn't change. So you need to have that communication with each other all the time.
Mm.
So communication is really, really key in establishing strong and like lasting and flourishing relationship.
Mm. I want to add on to that in terms of the love language because there's also the language of appreciation, right? That you can use exactly the same, not just in the relationships but also at your workplaces with your friends. Yeah, and people feel appreciated too. So it's similar. For those who are listening, you could go online and take the test and just key in the love language. You could come up with a lot of sites that you can take a lot of free questionnaires and to find out what is your top 2 or top 3 love language and do it with your partner. So coming back to the part we were saying earlier, apart from love languages, what can one do quickly, immediately, if let's say they find out they are stuck in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Something they can do on their own right now,
Mm.
to if they want to express and to connect with their partner. Is there a certain recommendation, or what would
Mm-hmm.
you recommend to that person?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So I do. Very simple way is to talk about how you met. You must remember your love story.
how you met. Okay.
Yeah. So like you when and this is very critical. And when I see my couple for the first time, I always ask about their story. What's your love story? How do you meet? And then I will assess by the amount of detail that they share in like, okay, do you remember what the person was wearing? Where were you at that time? And like, what was your initial impression? What do you liked about each other in the beginning? So based on what they share, I can roughly assess where's the relationship. So if you don't remember a lot, some of them they're like, I don't really remember. I don't remember where we met. I don't remember what. So they'll keep saying, no, I don't know, I don't know. And then that's a very, very bad sign.
Is that
Because
a
you forgot.
guy? Is that the
Yeah,
guy who says that?
most of the time it's probably the guy. Sometimes women as well, but yeah, guy probably like, I don't remember. I don't remember my anniversary. I don't remember how we met. I'm not sure why
Oh
I like
dear.
her because I don't like her now.
Oh dear.
And things like that. So then yes, a very quick way of like
Hmm.
re-establishing it is you don't even have to do it with your partner. You can just like, let me recall my love story. How much do you remember? Do you remember why you fell in love with this person? Why did you even get married? Because when you get married, you choose to marry this person. This must be the best person in the whole world for you, right?
Unless they're in a fixed marriage.
Yeah, lah, understand. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
sure. But then, and you must have been like so in love, and you must have dreams of like building a life together. So do you
Hmm.
remember what are those dreams? So that would be my question. Do you
Hmm.
remember why did you get together? Do you remember what were your dreams at that time? And if you don't, then maybe start talking about it. Let's have conversation about it. Then you can take out your pictures. You can take out your wedding photos that you pay a lot of money to take. Look at the wedding photos and talk about it.
Hmm.
What has changed since you get married? What are the challenges that you have right now? What have you discovered about each other that you didn't know when you took that wedding pictures? So there are many, many conversations that you can have around it, and I think that would be what I'll recommend. Kind of like just go back go back to your history, go back to why you fell in love with each other, go back to why you decide to build a family together. Do you remember? Yeah.
I like this method a lot. Like how you met, what is my love story. I
Mm,
think it's very relatable for me because from time to time, I think this reflection question is good to ignite the past emotions and the memories that they have together, and most often they are sweet ones, right? During their
of
dating
course.
times.
Yes. Yes.
And just now earlier, even I said like even arranged marriages, because I also know that many arranged marriages, they are also happy, yeah,
Hmm.
those last over many many years because they are able to look back at the experiences of how they got together.
And how they change over the years as well. Maybe in the beginning it was awkward, like it was arranged marriage, and so it's like, okay, we're in this because it's arranged. But you can also look at how you evolve from there. And
Mm.
then this brings me to another important criteria in a lasting relationship. There ought to be growth in the relationship. So if you have to adopt growth mindset, so that you don't expect your relationship to be the same.
Mm.
And so, like, let's say I say, oh, I'm not a very I don't like to let's say I don't like to watch football, right? But my husband happens to enjoy it. Then I'm like, oh, no, I don't think I'll ever like football. So I will fix mindset and say, no, I don't like it. But if I love and care enough about my spouse, I'll say, okay, let me try and see and go for one or two games. I don't have to go to every games, but I'm open to go for one or two, especially if it's a big game and if my spouse want me to do it. So then I am willing to put myself out there. I'm willing to put myself in like get out of my comfort zone and say, I'll do something that I don't usually do, but I'll do it because it matters to you. So you're thinking about the other person. So I'm changing as well. So you
I-
might, but then if I have fixed mindset, I'll be like, no. I'll never
mm.
ever go for football. Don't ever think about changing my mindset about it. Then that's a fixed mindset.
Yeah, gosh, Okay, I want to echo that. Echo that in the
Mm,
terms of, because I like the part how you say, I don't like this, but I'm willing to do it because of you.
mm.
I think the way they phrase it is very important, because it can be also considered as counting tab, right? Like, I don't like
Yeah.
this, but I'm doing this for you.
So
So
you
at the
better
back,
do something for me too.
exactly. So we have to say it in a nicer way that, you know what, I don't like it, but I really enjoy my time with you, and I know this is your favorite activity, and I want to learn something to spend time with you. That's why I'm doing it.
Mhm.
I think it sounds a
Yeah.
bit nicer. This tonation, how do we say it, right?
Yeah.
But coming back to fixed mindset, for those who are listening, there is a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Maybe could you share with us a bit more about what's the difference between these two mindsets?
I thought I was gonna ask you to share it. Come on, you can share that. I've been talking. You
I
must
asked
give
you
me a
first.
break. No, you go and talk.
Well,
Okay.
okay, so I don't know why I'm asking the question. It came back to me. Okay, so a person who has a fixed mindset is a person who's pretty fixed, and as the word suggests itself, they do not want to compromise themselves in terms of they will say no to a lot of things because their mind is already made up. There's a lot of biasness. I would say a lot of biasness of what they think, not because they think that they're right or wrong, but they just prefer a certain way, and they'll say no to new things in life. An example of a fixed mindset would be they think that it has to be their way, no matter what it is. Are not willing to try anything. But for a person who has a growth mindset, they do have their own opinions also, but they're willing to listen to another person's opinion and try out for the sake of curiosity, or try out for the sake of harmony, or try out for the sake to appreciate the other person's opinion. Um, in short, people with growth mindset, they're willing to try new things, even though they have a certain predisposed
Mm,
belief about something.
mm.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah. And
Okay.
for those who want to go into this area, read out this positive psychologist. Her name's called Caroline Dweck.
Yeah, Carol
And
Dweck.
yeah, Carol Dweck, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carol Dweck. So maybe we just go back to when Carol Dweck talked about growth mindset. It was more in the context of students.
Mm,
We talk about like students who has fixed mindset and growth mindset. So student who have fixed mindset believe that their basic abilities, their intelligence, their talents are fixed, meaning they're born with it. And therefore they do not dare to try new things, because if you try new things, then it will challenge their thoughts about their own ability.
mm,
However, people with growth mindset, they believe in effort. They believe in like doing things repeatedly so that you can get better. So that trait, like you are being smart or whatever, is not you're born with it, but it's because you put in effort to work towards it. So I think I probably just want to add this on. So so those who have growth mindset in a relationship doesn't think that they marry the right guy. Maybe they are a good enough guy, but they feel that my relationship can improve because I'm willing to work hard at it. It's not just because I marry a good person. It's not just because I'm the best match, but it's because I invest in it. I want to make it work. So that's
mm,
the difference when
mm,
I put it in the context of relationship.
mm.
So fixed mindset is like, oh, so good lah, you're compatible, you have similar hobbies, you have similar interests, you're both foodies, you're both vegan, you're both this and that, and then after that you're like, oh yeah, so natural, so these are all your fixed mindset. But
Yep,
if I am not vegan, you're vegan, then I say, oh, we actually learn to manage. Then
yep.
that's growth mindset as well, because you are not put down by something, by the barrier. You're willing to
Mm.
say, we may be different, but we can work it out through communication, through understanding, through conversation and stuff like that.
I like it when you talk about how people with fixed mindset, they tend to point their fingers to other people. Like, it's a form of projection, right? Oh, you are doing this because you guys are meant for each other, like what you said earlier. Do
Mm,
you think that this could also, if let's say in a couple, both of them have fixed mindsets?
mm, problematic. Then they won't go and seek help. It's like,
Yeah.
they won't go and seek help, right? Because nothing will change this one. My husband or my wife will never change. They'll be forever like this.
Mm. Because their
And that
narrative is reinforcing.
and then that is the barrier lah.
How about if let's say the wife has a fixed mindset and the husband has a growth mindset?
as long as you're one person with growth mindset, then they will work hard, they'll put in effort, they'll keep trying.
Yeah. And will there be any sort of I don't know, recommendations?
Yeah, okay. So if you have growth mindset and your spouse doesn't have, then you can do whatever. If you change your behavior, it will also impact your spouse.
Mm.
So like for example, there are couple who come in and see me, but their partner may not be ready, and then they say, "Oh, should I still see you if my partner is not here?" I said, "Sure, you can come and see me because I will work with you, and if you change your behavior, your spouse is likely to change the behavior. It's like a dance, right?
Yeah.
So if I dance differently, then my spouse has no choice but to dance differently. I've always seen marriage like a dance.
Yeah.
And so even in my, just something personal as well, like when I got married, I came out with this theme, three to dance. So
Three
three
to
to dance,
dance.
three to
Three.
dance, three to dance.
Okay.
So three-person in the dance. And because of my faith belief, to me, God is that third dancer.
Okay.
God is that third dancer for bringing us together. But the third dancer are also our parents, our friends, our community. Because
Okay.
marriage is not just about the two-person, and that's the other misconception that people have. Because people think that, oh, marriage is between me and my spouse. Why do I need to see a psychologist or a couple therapist to tell somebody whom I don't know about my problem? Have you heard
Yeah.
of that before?
Yeah.
You have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've come across many people like because like when I do therapy work, when they come in, they realize that it's not just the person they need to work, it's also the partner that you have to get involved.
Mm,
And most often that one of them, the partner will say that, they will never come for treatment is because this is our personal sacred space between me and my wife or me and
correct.
my husband.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Why do we need to share our dirty laundry
Exactly.
to a third person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we
Yeah.
can't solve it, the mindset would be if we cannot solve it ourselves, we have created this problem ourselves. That's why we have created these problems ourselves, and this is our marriage, this is our relationship. If we cannot solve it ourselves, if we need a third person to come in and solve it, it means that we have failed in some ways very
Correct.
badly. Yeah.
Yes. So this is a stigma, and you are absolutely right. And it is a misconception that we need to correct. So then, why do you go and find a financial advisor? Do you have a financial advisor?
Yes.
You do. Why do you go and
More
see
than
a
one.
financial? More than one, right? Why do you
Yeah.
see a financial advisor?
Because they're the experts in helping me in my finance, my planning, estate
Yeah,
planning, all that stuff. Yeah.
exactly. Are you an expert in relationship? How
Uh
many people are expert of relationship?
no, not many.
Exactly. And so, would you want to listen to your own way of doing things, or would you prefer to speak to a relationship expert when you hit a wall?
Food for thought. For many,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. And so this is where I want to encourage people to be open and to let go of your own narrative of like,
Mm.
oh, if I can't fix it myself, I have failed in my relationship. But you could have failed in your relationship because you are bad or you are incompetent, but because you don't have the skills.
Mm.
You do not have the right skills. You do not have the right knowledge. So
I agree.
and some people actually bothered to go and read up, they go and attend couple courses, and they actually do well because they invest in the relationship. They
Mm.
bothered to go for all these retreat or like wherever, they go and listen to YouTube, to like speakers about, okay, how do you build a strong relationship? And that's all good. You don't necessarily have to engage a therapist, but you must be bothered to invest in your marriage, you see. And if you get stuck, then go and speak to an expert. That's
Yeah.
why they are expert in it, you see. Just
Yeah.
like you go and find your financial advisor, you go and speak to a relationship expert to find out, how can I improve my relationship? What are the areas I can be better at? What can I do to build a stronger marriage and stuff like that?
Yeah. You said about the skills that it requires a specific skill to communicate,
Yeah.
in relationships. And many people, what they do is that they talk to their friends.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not very helpful because the friends, they do not
Correct.
know the whole picture and they might be a
Exactly.
bit biased and they're not
Yes.
trained.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they be on your side, Yeah.
Yes. They can't
Yeah.
be objective, you see. They're
Mm.
not objective. I mean, there are some friends who are really good. I speak to my friends too, you see. But the thing is, people don't really have time to really, you can read books, but sometimes do you really process it in the way that is most helpful? Are you able to translate that into action? Some people read a lot, but then like whether you can translate that into action is another thing, you see.
I'd like to add on the part about the skills for those who are listening, because I think this is a big topic about how we need a specific set of skills for a certain topic. And given that we are all very analytical and we're great problem solvers, so we hit any problems, the first thing first that we try to solve it within ourselves, because we think that if we think really, very hard, if we analyze it, or even when we Google it, we can solve it with ourselves. But that is a big problem, because psychological skill sets involves mental and communication and also emotions. It's not
Yes.
just thinking. And many people think that they can think their way out of a problem by thinking very hard or thinking for a very long time.
Yes.
And it doesn't
Exactly.
need to be just for relationships. It could be personal challenges that they think that they can think themselves out of a situation. Yeah, this is our most basic way of looking at things, but we really need that skill sets. And seeing a therapist, seeing a coach is whereby you get these skills, you acquire these skills,
Yeah.
and then you can go work on your own issues and become better.
Yeah. And also I want to add that unlike a problem solving, when like I say you're stuck in something like work or whatever, usually is rational. But when you talk about relationship, it involves emotion. And so the process in doing that is slightly different. You need to be open to your own emotion as well. And I think that, the school doesn't really teach people how to do that.
No.
So that's where that there is a severe gap, that unless somebody is naturally tuned in and bothered to talk about emotions and all that, they won't know what to do with their own emotions. And it is precisely because it creates a lot of anxiety and negativity when they feel that, I'm not so happy with my partner, but if I raise it, I don't want the other person to be angry. I don't want to escalate it into a fight because I hate fight even more. Then you become conflict avoidant. And so you just sweep everything under the carpet. And that prevents you from an authentic intimacy, right? Because you can't even say what is in your heart to the other person.
The authentic intimacy.
You're not able to really trust that the other person can accept you for who you are with your own, maybe I have my warped idea about things, maybe I feel insecure about certain things, but I don't dare to rock the boat. A lot of people don't dare to rock the boat. Okay, maybe I don't want to see therapists. Later I see therapists, from one problem become 10 problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Kind of a thing. And so I should just pretend that there's only one problem. So then it goes back to the skill of emotional regulation and goes back to the skill of emotional vocabulary. So that's why, to me, I feel that, people need to learn to understand, to have that emotional vocabulary, because your emotion informs you of your needs. And when you know your needs, then you can communicate. So this is the stage where then you can communicate. After you communicate, then you have to find the right way to communicate. And then when you communicate, you can do conflict management. And then you solve your problem.
There's a lot of words for many people listening. For those who are curious about what is emotional vocabulary, it simply means that you're able to express your emotions adequately by labeling how you feel. So we do, many people, they are pretty stuck at labeling their emotions. So there's a quick exercise for you. For those who are listening, that would be take out a piece of paper, or you can use your phone or whichever, and type the list of emotions that you can name. If you type around 20, you're on an average scale, I would say. If you type more than 20, you're doing really well. But if you type less than 20, then there are a lot of areas of improvement for you to be more aware about how you feel. Coming back to the topic, Winnie, about seeking help for relationships. And the one indicator, as you say, is when the person start feeling that they do not have the emotion connection. How about sex?
Yeah, sex can be an indicator as well.
Yeah, okay. I just throw you a curve, not a curveball. Okay. How about this sticky situation, right? That the couple together, they are having sex, but not having emotion connection, and they are married because they take it as having sex as part of their
routine,
or as an indicator that they're in a good relationship.
Yeah.
Would that be a problem?
Yeah. It will be a problem if one person feels there is a problem. If both person are happy with that, then there's no problem.
Okay, good. That's a quick answer. How about those, and coming back to the real question that would be, how about those couples who are married and they stop having sex? Is there an indicator of frequency that they should have sex to maintain a healthy relationship?
I'm not a sexologist, but I want to say this. I think as like sex is a very private thing, and people often are very curious, like what is the right amount, you know? So people often ask that question, what's
Yes.
the average and things like that. But actually, it really varies to your life situation. If you have 3 young children, you really have no time to think about sex,
True.
right? And so, you know, sometimes mothers often feel pressured by it because they're so exhausted, and then there's this additional expectation that they need to fulfill their wifely duty, you know, which can be quite, to them, I can imagine it can be quite demanding and unreasonable, because I can barely sleep and you still want me to perform my wifely duty, you know. And so then we need to look at the situation and say, if that is really important to the husband, then you need to also put it to your wife clearly and say, you know, I really need to be intimate with you, and I think that I understand that you are tired, but can we make some compromise? What will be something that agreeable? Because I really want to be close to you. I really miss you, or something like that. If you express it in such a way, then I think the wife will feel like, oh, okay, all right, I can think about it. Maybe on a day when I don't feel so tired, the children are with the grandparents, then I can think about it. But if you come in and say, you know, fix my need or something like that, or else I'm gonna go and like do porn or go outside or whatever, I mean, then that's different, right?
Mm.
So what I'm trying to say is that it is a conversation that the couple needs to have.
Okay. I
That's
hear
a
you.
conversation the couple needs to have.
I hear
Yes.
you, Winnie. I understand what you're saying because every culture, every relationship has different sort of culture, right? They have to understand these things and different dynamics. But just for the sake of simplicity,
Okay.
straight on, what, in your own opinion, doesn't need to be a couple
Okay. Yeah.
therapist expert
Just
opinion
my
in
own
terms
opinion.
based on what? Yeah, it's a personal. What do you think it would be healthy? What is
Okay.
a average timeline for a person to make love to each other as a couple, which is vital and important? What? Yeah.
Okay, like at the very least, if you're very tired, then once a month, I think.
Okay,
So
so
if
once a month.
anything,
There you go.
once a month, let's say, maybe
Okay.
that's once a month. Twice a
Okay.
month would be nice.
Okay.
If you're very energetic, every
Mm.
other week, up to you, you know. But then
Okay.
if you're telling me you have not had sex for years, like ever
Mm.
since your child is born and your child is now 7 years old, then I'll be very concerned.
Mm. Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is at least once a month, right?
Don't
No,
call me
no,
on that,
I know.
please.
No. Okay, because these are important topics that we need to talk about, and many people are not really talking about it, given in an Asian context. And but just not to quote you, but to quote somebody, but I don't know the name. The person I was looking up to was a relationship therapist, and he or she said something about it is couples who share intimacy. They need to be intimate to have sex at least once a fortnight to maintain a healthy relationship. So I think
Yeah.
once a fortnight, once a month is fine. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let me just share. I think what is important is that when you look at your spouse, you still have that desire to have sex. Like if you look at your spouse and you don't care anymore, then there's something is wrong also.
Yeah.
Because that sex element is also a very important part of a marital relationship. Bearing in mind that when you are not having sex, your partner is not having sex as well, you see.
Mm.
So you are not getting it, she is not getting it as well. So then we want to talk about what is our needs, because sex is a basic needs, and
Yeah.
we have different needs in that sense. And so at the very least, there should be conversation between couple about, okay, what is your expectation?
Mm.
Then we talk about, oh, what is feasible for us to do right now at this stage of our relationship. You know, because if I feel that I need to have sex with you to feel close, then I need to have sex with you to feel close.
Mm.
That's just how it is, right?
Mm.
Or you can of course, I mean, like if you have no energy for like the full works, then at least holding hand, being physically intimate, like, or whatever that you do before you get married, or whatever things that you used to do, just to be affectionate, to be close, to be physical. But if you are not even holding hand and you are sleeping in separate room, and you don't think that there's anything wrong with it, then clearly your marriage is not in the right place as
Okay.
well.
So it's not just about treatment, it's also a lot about prevention, right? That what are the
Mm.
warning signs? And this might be a warning sign that, hey,
Yeah,
we got so derailed from our
correct.
activities and
Yes.
life. Let's come back to this again.
Yes, exactly. Because sex is not just for procreation. I mean, it's a big part of it, but it's also for you to feel the intimacy. And then if you are angry with each other, you also cannot really have sex now.
Yeah.
So then it informs you of what are the issues that you have.
Angry sex.
Right? Yeah, some people do
Yes.
have that, Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, it's just a pun. Yeah. So, Winnie, quick question to follow up on that. Any tips or advice for couples to go dating, like frequency?
Uh,
Yeah.
I
Let's say,
think okay. Let's look at. I mean,
pick,
just be realistic, lah.
yeah.
I think realistically, if you can do once a month, is acceptable.
Okay.
But ideally, fortnightly. And if your kids are a lot grown up and you have more time, then weekly, lah. I
Okay.
mean, it's really about like when you started dating, right? You can't wait to see each other all the time, right?
Mm,
So date night is about you and your spouse, and then how much do you want to put a number on it, on how much I want to spend time with you,
true,
right? So
true.
it really depends on your current state of life. And I think that maybe at the very least once a month, because you do need to check in with each other and find out what is the internal world, because the internal world changes,
Internal world.
like
Can you?
what's going on in your head.
Okay.
Like sometimes I may see somebody, like I may have an experience that really affect and shift who I am. For example, like maybe I have a conversation with somebody who really shift my idea about a certain position, and then that actually changed me as a person. I'm not the same Winnie anymore.
Okay.
And if I don't have that conversation with my husband, he will know that I have changed. Am I making sense?
Unless the person is aware that they have changed with that self-awareness too,
I
right?
will know that I've changed because
Yes.
I have this, like, let's say I have this intense conversation with you that shift my position.
Yeah.
If I don't tell that to my husband, he wouldn't know.
But provided that you have the self-awareness that you
Oh,
have
yeah,
shifted. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
of course, yes. And so once a month, because you have to just find out, like, oh, what's going on? What are the experiences that you have that has impact you, that may have changed you? Like, for example, women change a lot when they have a child, when they first become a mom. They know it, but they may not have the word to express it. There's a philosophical shift because it's not just about me and my body anymore. It's about my child. Then they prioritize the kid. And this is something that husbands sometimes do not understand, because the change that they experience is not as drastic as the wife, So then for the wife, it's easy to say, okay, now I can just be selfless. Everything is about the well-being of my child and all that. And then they think about it. And then for the men, they may not necessarily feel that way. They may say, hey, why can't my wife just keep focusing on the kid? How can I stop focusing on me? Because there's a big shift that has happened. They are not just wife anymore. Now they are mom.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
so that conversation is actually very important. Like, I have to tell you that, it's not that I don't want to pay attention to you. I do, but I can't, because my mind, I'm multitasking all the time. The mental load that I have is so great. I just have no bandwidth, So that conversation has to happen.
I strongly believe that, on just adding on to what you just said, I strongly believe, this is my belief, I may be wrong, but this is what I subscribe to, that it's a man's job to love the wife. And then the wife will receive the love, who will have the love to love the kids. Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be beautiful.
Yeah. Ideally,
Ideally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, so that's my.
Yeah, I want to share this with you. I actually spoke to somebody. He's a husband, and he blew my mind when he said this. He said that when my wife got up to breastfeed my child in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., I will wake up and sit next to her while she breastfeed.
Wow. That's
Just so she can feel my support. And I was like, wow, such a spoiled market, man.
Please.
How many how many husbands say things like that? The husband like, I need my sleep, man. I do this, you go and breastfeed, let's be efficient. Why do two people must stay up and like to go and feed one baby?
Yeah.
But that is the difference between like a really supportive. I mean, I'm not saying every husband must do that. No, you're not judged on that. But this husband did that, and I was like, wow.
Wow. Really spoiled market, this person's a red gem. Yeah, but it's also a good tip and advice for those who are listening, because these are the small little gestures that means a lot. And these are, I don't know whether it's called acts of service, but these are the things that it matters, right? And so, okay, there's a small little break here. So Winnie, let me ask you the next, we're coming to the end of this session. We have a lot of good tips today, and I just want to end with a note to ask by asking you this question about any quick practices or sessions or things that couples can do to, if let's say they are in a good place or they just want to up their emotional connection.
Yeah.
Not say they're in a bad place. They just want to up emotional
Understand.
connection. Yeah. What are some of these things they can do immediately?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do new things together. Try
New
novel
things.
activity. Like if you haven't done rock climbing together, go rock climbing. Just try new experiences together.
Okay.
Because when you do something new, you are out of the comfort zone, and then you learn new things about each other, and that makes life exciting. So just do something that is different from the ordinary. Don't do the same routine. Try different new food. Maybe if you never tried like Mediterranean food, just go and eat Mediterranean food. Do something that is novel, that is new. If you don't like go museum, just go museum. Do things that you've never done before together. So be adventurous and have that curiosity about each other, and don't assume that you know everything about your spouse. Leave some room to say that, oh, maybe there's something about my spouse that I don't know yet that I want to go and discover. Then that keep your relationship fresh and alive in that sense.
Great. I really like that, And for those who want more information, you can find Winnie at, maybe you can do a small little link to your profile. Can you share with the listeners? How can they find you?
Yeah, I maintain a blog at winifredling.com where I write about relationship, about living a flourishing life. So you can follow me there. Yeah, you can find me on Promises Healthcare, and that's where I practice.
And for those who are listening, the website will be www.winifred, it's WINIFREDLING.com. And so 4 things that big takeaways that we covered. I think there are more than 4, but just let me summarize this 4 would be the 5 love languages. You can go and take your love language. For those of you who have taken some time ago, go and take it again and share that result with your partner and start to craft activities around it. I think that would be a great blessing. And for those who want to reignite, their passion, if they feel that they are stuck somehow, just ask the question and talk about how you met each other. Think about the love story, how you got together. And the third one would be extend your emotional vocabulary. Write down the amount of emotions that you can list and use these emotions to express your feelings to your couple. And last but not least, what are the things that we can do to add passion and to bring the relationship to the next level? Do as what Winifred has said, do novel things together. Do something new, discover, be curious with each other. Thank you, Winifred, for being here today, and thanks for listening in. And if you have any thoughts and comments and ideas, please leave your feedback and comments on Getting Naked with Happiness on Instagram, Facebook. And I look forward to seeing you or hearing you and for the next episode. Thank you very much.